The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, good afternoon and thanks for joining us on this webinar again today. This is the last in our Lunch and Learn webinar series, but again, if you guys are finding them useful, please do let us know, drop me an email or let me know what you think about them. All feedback is appreciated and welcome, and again, if you find them beneficial, it's something that we can definitely look to do again in the new year or run them again. So look, as standard quick introductions, my name's Donal O'Neill. I'm the marketing manager for Clonmilliam Health and I'll be emceeing the webinar again today. And with me as per usual, I have Glenda O'Neill, who is our customer support and training executive, and Glenda is leading the training today. So today we're talking about emailing prescriptions and electronic signatures in HealthOne. Again, as with all the webinars, if you do have any questions, please do use the question tab, which is in the control panel on the right hand side of your screen. You should see questions there, and if you click into that, you can type in your question and it'll come through to us. Again, we'll try and answer all the questions at the end, but just if something occurs to you and you want it answered, just drop it in there and we'll do our best to get through them all at the end. So look, without further ado, I'm going to pass this over to Glenda and she's going to kick off the training. So Glenda, that invite should be on its way to you.
Great, thanks. So hi everyone. So again, I've logged into HealthOne here, and today I'm going to cover adding a signature to a letter template, adding a signature to an email prescription and emailing prescriptions. So first off, we're in our patient selector here, and the first thing that we'll do is I'm going to add an electronic signature. So for you guys out there, the first thing that you will need to do is take a piece of paper and put your signature on it. So just like take a blank piece of paper, sign your signature on it, and then scan it in or take a photograph with your phone, and you'll have the signature then. So just like have it on a blank white piece of paper, kind of written clearly with a black pen, and scan it in or take a picture with your phone. Sometimes it's good to open the picture or the signature with paint and just resize it. It just makes it easier when you're putting it in, but you can resize it afterwards. So that's the first thing I do. So I'd have my signature, so I would take my photograph and I would save that image into my pictures or somewhere on your computer that you can access it. So once you have that done, and I did that earlier on, I'll open up Joan Baez. We're going to use her today as our test patient. So we're in Joan's file here. And you will do your usual. I would probably begin my consultation as I usually do, and I'll say okay, and then I will execute my template. And you're all probably familiar with this up here. So again, if I click on my template, I have my listings in here, and as I was saying before in another webinar, if you right click on any template in here, you can add that template to your favorites, and then it will show on the list up here, so you can have it kind of at the top of the list here. So I have my Quicklist here, and I'm just going to say open. And see my Quicklist is open. I'll do is I'll scroll. I'm going to place my cursor where I want the electronic signature to go. So I have my cursor flashing here, and there's a little button up here, and it's been here, you know, it's not a new button, but when you go into the button here, you have the insert a user signature, which is new here. So it's just this little icon here and down to the bottom and insert user signature. So when you click that link, if you have no signature added to this particular user, the logged in user, then the first time you click it, you'll have to upload a signature in here. So I'm going to click on my upload button here. BC, and you can see I'm in my pictures here, and you can see I have a couple of different kind of sample signatures in here. So I'll choose this one here and I'll say open. And I'll save that signature in, and I'll just say okay. And that's it now placed on the letter. So you can, anytime you want to use that going forward, then if I just take that out, because I've uploaded it in, I can just click on it and set the signature, and straight away the signature will go in. So I'm in an actual letter. I'm not in a dated letter in here, and I've added my signature. But what you could also do is you could open the template and you could add the signature into the template as well. So that means every time you open the letter, the signature will already be there. But you may want to add it in, you may want to change it up. If you wanted to, you can just use the button up here to do that. Once you've added the signature in, you'll have to, if you want to change it or you want to put a different one in, you're going to have to go into the user DB and change it from in there. So there's no way to delete the signature once you've added it in here. You can see there, once I hit insert, it just adds the signature in again. So what I would have to do is I'd have to go into the user database and I would have to take that out. I'll just leave that there and take that out there. So if I go up to my this, I'll actually close the letter first so I can make it more easier for you to see. You can see this is the button here for user DB, and if I click on that button, I'm logged in as admin at the moment, so I have administration rights. But if you're logged in as a doctor, it's going to pop up here and it's going to prompt you and tell you that you need to log in as an administrator to be able to change this in here. So once you log in as the administrator, you'll just go into the user, and I just click on the physician here, and I click on Dr. Glenda, and I go across to the signature tab at the end, and I click on it here, and then I can delete it from in there. So I'm actually logged in as admin, and there's the signature gone in there, and all I have to do is just press that delete button from here, and that will take that signature out, and that removes it, and then I can add a new one in there. So I could potentially go in and upload a signature from here, or I can do it from the open letter. So just to be aware of that, so I'll just upload, select my signature, and say open, and it's in there. And I'll also put it in against Dr. Glenda, and I'll say upload and signature and open. So I've now added my signature in against those two users here. So I'll close this, and I'll just close that, and I'm going to log in as a physician. So I log in as Glenda and not as administrator. So I'm just going to open HealthOne back up, and we'll just change this. And I'm logged in now as a physician. To add and delete a signature from your letter template. Just one here, play again. I'm just going to execute my quit. In my action, so I'm creating a letter on the fly. I'm not in the template, and I think a lot of you might. This little icon up here was put in a couple of releases ago, and it's like a little pen icon. And if I click on that there, it gives me a couple of options on the side here. And basically, what I could do is I could have a letter opened, and I can add information from the patient file into the letter on the fly. So as I say, I'm not in the actual template, I'm in the open letter, and at this point I can add information from the patient file. So before with HealthOne, what you would have had to do is you would have had to open up a template, and you would have to have a template with maybe repeat medication and medical history, and then you might have had another template with allergies and all different information in, so that it would pull it in onto the letter when you opened it. But with the new version, and it means you can insert pretty much any data from the file into the letter while you're doing it. So I have a couple of insert live template from trends. If I was to click on that option there, you can see here it's just refreshing. It's just loading my trends information in here. But basically what I'll be able to do is insert any kind of any of my trend information. So if I want to say insert the HbA1c, and if I hold the control key down and I also want to insert the LDL cholesterol, I can pick anything on that list there, and I can click this little icon here, insert last value into the document. And if I click on that, you can see what it has done there is it has inserted information in a table with the levels and the dates in here. And again, the template up here allows you to choose what you would like to see here. So in this case, I want to insert the last 3 values, and I want to insert it as a table with a date, and that's why it has done it like this here for me. If I was to use that icon there, it will insert the last 3 values. So it's a really nice feature within HealthOne that maybe not everybody. Just to say that there, all I do is put the cursor in up to my pen icon, insert live data from trends. I can also insert live data from all data. So if I click on this icon, I can pretty much search anything within the chart. So I could say I want to add in, say, an X-ray, for example, and it will bring up any X-rays, and I can just click on the X-ray here, and again I can insert that onto my letter. So it's again a really nice feature. It just means that you can kind of add the information into the letter as you go along. And there's a couple of other little options in there as well that you can have a look. I won't waste too much time on today, but there is from the active transactions. So I was to click on whatever transaction I'm in, and I can insert pretty much like what you would have in here in your template. So say I want to put in the repeat medication. If I didn't have that on the letter already, I could highlight that there and say OK, and that will insert the repeat medication onto that letter. So rather than having 10 different template letters in your system, you can just have one blank quizlet letter, and you could just insert the information as you go along, depending on what you want to send for that particular patient. So it's just a really nice feature. You can also insert data from a database, and that would be like, you know, your doctor details or anything like that in there. I just wanted to put that just so I meant to do that last time when I was showing you the letter template, but just to be aware that you can do that little pen icon on the fly. So, and again, I'll have my signature in here, and I'll just save the letter and I'll send it off. So that's editing a letter template, and that's adding and deleting a signature. So the next thing I'll cover a prescription from HealthOne to a pharmacy. And I just want to say that this is not electronic referral. This will be in replacement of, so if you send a lot of faxes, say, to pharmacies, this is where this will be really handy. But it's not e-referral. That we have to just be really clear that they still have to have the printed prescription for the pharmacy. So you'll still have to give them a print, but this is just a way that if you send a lot of faxes over, this is just a quick way for you to do this. So I'll click on my little medication icon, and I'm going to do a prescription. It will open up here my prescription module, and I'll just prescribe the medication that I have here. So, you know, I won't go into all the detail on that. You're all very familiar with prescribing. So I have my list of my prescriptions, and I'm just going to do my print or my control P. And you can see in here, I have this option in here to send the prescription to the pharmacy. So if you don't see that option on, that option is off by default. And I just want to show you where that is first. If we go up to Tools and Options, and we choose the prescription module here, there's a new icon down here that says Email Prescription to Pharmacy. And if you tick that icon on there, that means that the other, when we open up the prescription, you'll have the email functionality there ready to use. We have it ticked off by default, so if you don't see it, you'll need to go in and tick it on in your Tools and Options. So we'll just go back in here and we'll print our prescription. And again, like I say, it will be in here, and you'll just click on the plus here, and I'll just choose this tick box here, Send Prescriptions to Pharmacy. So when I tick that on there, I've already nominated a pharmacy for this particular patient in here, and it's Hickey's Pharmacy. But when you come in here the first time, it will be blank. So obviously you'll speak to the patient and see where their nominated pharmacy is, and you'll click on this little icon at the end here, and you can choose the pharmacy from the list. Now you're going to have to add those pharmacy details in and the email addresses in yourself. And again, you're sending over health mail like we did last week. So if you want to add to that address book, you just click on the little plus here, and you put in the pharmacy name and their email address and their details in here. So for now, I'll search for a pharmacy that I have in. So I'll just type in PHAR, and you can see I have a couple of pharmacies added. So I'll choose Hickey's Pharmacy, and I'll say OK. This has now put Hickey's Pharmacy as my nominated pharmacy for this particular patient. So when you open up a different patient and you tick this box here, you'll nominate a pharmacy for that particular patient too. So once you have it all ready to go, you'll just select your prescription, and you'll say print or preview, depending on what way you do it, because I don't have a printer set up to my test system. And you'll see the email box will pop up. So similar to what we covered last week, you have your email, your health mail email that has opened up here. So I can click on my two, and I can choose my pharmacy. The subject is prescription for Joan Baez. And then I have this prescription template in here that basically comes with HealthOne. So we've sent this prescription template out to everybody, and you can go in and you can type over that, and you can put in any other in there. And again, you might want to put your signature in here. So I could click on my under my signed and put my cursor here, and this little icon here allows me to insert my signature. So if I click on that there, you can see my signature goes in. And again, this is not a legal kind of signature in here. You'd still have to sign the prescription as you would have done before, but that's just to put it in on this particular email. Other information like I covered last week. So you can go in and you can, insert from the transaction, or you can insert from free text or from an existing file. So if I wanted to add something, pick any of the information. So I might want to include something with the prescription. I can do that from here. I could include any documents that I needed from in here too, and I can say OK. You can also edit this template. This is just like a standard template. Now all you'd have to do is just hit the send button there, and that will send that then to the pharmacy. Again, it will send it over health mail as I explained in the last webinar. So if you want to see the the email going or the response coming back in, you would open up your health mail. So I'll just close out of that, open up the templates. I actually need to just close that. I'm just going to close out of HealthOne for a second. And I will open up my template. So file, open template, and I will search for email in here. So if I type in email, you'll see in here you have a template email prescription here. So if I highlight that there and I say open, point. So if I change this, this changes it for all of my emails going forward. So you can add whatever you want in there. If you wanted to, you could put your electronic signature in there by clicking on this here and the signature. And anytime you create that email, then it will put the signature in for you. So that's adding a signature to a prescription and emailing a prescription over health mail. I'll cover today while we have a bit of time is because they were the main subjects that were part of this webinar, but while we have an extra bit of time here, I'm going to cover the screensaver that went into a recent release. Basically all you have to do to activate the screensaver is if you go into your tools and in here enable screensaver. So if I was to tick that option on here, you can see it's over here on the right hand side. If I tick that on there, it asks me how long do I want to wait before the screensaver will activate, and I can say like 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is. And basically what that will do is with GDPR you might want to have this enabled on your screen. That means if you walk away from your screen or you walk away from HealthOne, if you have this set for say 10 minutes, after 10 minutes HealthOne will lock itself out, and you will have to put your password in to get back into HealthOne. So you can choose how many minutes there. I won't do it now, but basically what will happen is if I put that on for 10 minutes, once I leave the HealthOne inactive for that 10 minutes, when I come back, it will have a little kind of icon moving around the screen. And if I just tip anywhere on my keyboard, it will give me the username and password prompt. So the username will already be in, and I'll just type in my password. But if you wanted to, this log off HealthOne, if I tick that option there, that means if you were to leave it active for 10 minutes and you come back over and you hit your keyboard, it will look for you to put in the username and the password. So that's the difference with this icon here. This asks you for the username and password. If you leave that unticked, it will just ask you for the password. Also, just to know that if you're in, so if I'm logged in as myself as Dr. Glenda and I'm in the middle of doing something here, and then I go away to take bloods or whatever, and I leave the system active for 10 minutes and I'm in the middle of a consultation here, what HealthOne will do is it will lock it at this screen, and if I log back in as that doctor, as the doctor that was in before the screensaver activated, it's going to bring me back to where I was. So it'll leave it open here, so it's not going to bring you back to the patient selector. You'll be back into the file where you were. If I was to come over, if some other doctor came over to, like, so I'm in the middle of doing this and I've done a prescription and I'm in the middle of a consultation and my screen locks out, and then another doctor comes into my room and he tries to log into HealthOne, when he puts in his details, it won't log in on this screen. HealthOne will know, and it will log him in on the patient selector, and it will save the information that you had in beforehand. So it will auto save it, so you don't need to worry about it losing information. And that's the screensaver. The other thing that we put in recently too was the password management, and again this was part of GDPR. So we put in there was a password management system within HealthOne beforehand, but we just added some extra features to it. So if I log into my user DB, actually I'm going to log out of HealthOne and log in as administrator, because for me to access the user DB I have to be logged in as an administrator. So I click on HealthOne and I log in as admin. And just to note here at this point as well, you should have an administrator, so you should have an admin user, and the admin user should have a unique password that nobody knows here, or this just it makes the password management it's not great, because that means anybody could log in as admin. So what you want to do is you want to have an administrator, and you want to have a password that only the administrator knows, and they log in and they say, once I say log in, I can access the user database. Else, only the user admin knows of the user information in here. But if I go up to the tools option, so if I click on the tools here and I go into account policy, pops up here. And basically what this is doing, this is the password management system. And you can see in here, these were in HealthOne prior to GDPR, but just so you know that you can put in expires in, so you could say you want to expire in 10 days or 30 days or whatever you want. And the password uniqueness allows them, so how many times they can use the same password. So again, you could leave that at 0, or you could allow them to use it twice or 3 times. This part here is new, the password complexity. So if I activate that, if I tick that on there, what it will do is when it will activate this for everybody in the practice. So it will mean that when everybody logs into HealthOne, they'll be prompted to change the password, and it will give them a pop-up, and it will ask them to put in their old password, to put in a new password, and then confirm the new password. And what it will also do is, as part of that new password, it will force the user to have a password with a minimum of 8 characters in length, to contain, like, you know, a capital letter, a number, and a lowercase, and a number and a symbol. So they'll have to kind of like have a complex password in here. And then you have a couple of other options here: minimum login name length, so you want it to be, you know, 3 characters or more, and then the user logout, so it logs them out after 3 minutes of an invalid login attempt. So this really is the main new one kind of in here. So yeah, we have that there, so we would tick that on there, and we would just say okay. And as I say, that will force all the users in the practice then to change the password when they next log into the system. So I suppose with GDPR, we would maybe recommend that people put this on and have that password complexity option in there. And it means then, I mean, people, you know, you're compliant with GDPR because you're making it difficult for people to log into each other's systems. So I'll just cancel out of that. And the last thing I'll cover in here as well, and that went in, and again, it was around the whole GDPR thing, was an audit trail that we put in. So if I open up a patient file, you can see the trail window on the side here. You can see I have that activated. Basically what that tells me is, it tells me who logged into this file, so who opened this file. So I can see that, you know, Dr. Glenda opened this file on the 2nd, and Dr. Admin opened it on the 2nd. So for yourselves, if patients or if staff are accessing the files and maybe they have no reason to, you can see it in here in the audit trail. And to activate that on your file, you just go and view selector. And when in here, I have a couple of view selectors in here, and I have just ticked on the audit trail in there. So once I tick that on there, I can see the audit, and that's all you need to do to put that on. There is the diabetic cycle of care as well. If you tick that on, you'll see all the diabetic cycle of care information over here on the view as well. So it just means when you open up the file, you have this kind of nice little tabs over here that you can kind of see the information quite clearly in front. So I think that's pretty much it. I think that's enough for today, and we'll maybe take some questions on, if anybody has any questions on anything I covered.
That was great, Glenda. Thanks a million. We just had a question from Sheila, and it's around the emailing prescriptions. So if you're emailing prescriptions using the HealthOne email, does it have to be a health mail email address?
Yes, it does. Yes. So it will only read, it will only read the health. You need to be sending the prescriptions over health mail, because if you send them any other way, they're not secure.
Sure. Yeah, and that's fair enough. But I think unless anyone else has any other questions, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Just give people a minute, just to remind people as well that all of the. Oh, sorry. Here's another one from Sheila. Is there a cervical smear tab?
No, I don't think so. No, not at the moment. But we may be able to do something on that. I'll talk to Rory about that. Yeah, we may be able to put something in on that.
Yeah, that could be definitely something.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea, Sheila. I'll mention that to Rory the next time I'm down with him, and we'll look at maybe putting something like that in.
Great stuff. Sheila says thanks.
No problem. No problem, Sheila. Thanks.
Okay, well, look, as I said earlier, if anyone else has any further questions or any feedback, please do drop us an email. You should all have my email address from the registrations here.
Also, just to mention, Donald, sorry for interrupting you, just to say that the HealthOne user group is on next weekend, so the Saturday, next Saturday, not tomorrow, Saturday week, is on down in the Brehon in Killarney, and a lot of this, there'll be a lot of detailed training seminars going on that day, so a lot of the stuff that I've covered in the last few webinars will be covered again in a lot more detail at the HealthOne user, the AGM, so just to make a note of that.
Great stuff, great stuff. And look, as we were saying earlier, these videos are available on YouTube to look back at. If you search for HealthOne Lunch and Learn webinars, they should all appear. We'll be adding this one by close of business today, so they are there for you to kind of refer back to as well. And just to wrap up this series, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Glenda. I think she was brilliant in terms of what she showed us and how she did it. So I'm sure that's echoed by everyone here. But then also thanks to everybody who attended. And look, we hope to see you again soon in the new year. And any questions, please do just shout. And any feedback, please do just shout as well. Thanks very much, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.